welcome to Collaboratory, the show where Mike Morris improvises an animatic with a little help from our audience, and the rest of us learn about the craft of storyboarding along the way. Mike, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well today. I'm really excited to be doing another Collaboratory.
Yeah, man. Bring it on.
So, for those of you who are watching us live, you have a very important job. You need to type in prompts to guide what Mike Morris draws. And, Mike, what kind of prompts are we looking for from our audience?
We're looking for characters.
So, who's in the scene?
Two of them. We need a setting.
Where is this taking
And
place?
we need... Oh, wow. It's not a brush I want to use.
Ooh.
Conflict.
So, Mike, conflict doesn't just mean like there's a fight, like two people duking it out.
No, it doesn't. A conflict is any sort of problem that needs to be resolved. So a conflict in someone's life can be as easy as, trying to get out of a traffic ticket, or, you have something that you're building that's not quite coming together. It doesn't have to be just like a fist fight. It could be a race even, but the conflict, it is like win or lose, or succeed or fail, those
There's some
can
sort of
be
outcome.
yeah.
And to give our viewers an idea of the hijinks that we get up to, last time in Collaboratory we featured a sullen fish and an octopus who wanted to be where the people are, and it turned out that they were both out of their depth.
Very much so.
Significantly. So while we wait for suggestions to come in from the audience, I wanted to return to a topic that we came to yesterday, which is shorthand. Mike, what is shorthand and why might it be helpful for storyboard artists?
Shorthand is extremely helpful for storyboard artists because it's very gestural. And that's first pass with thumbnail drawings. We do a lot of that on this show, actually, almost all the time. We're just doing thumbnail drawings, right? We're doing simple gestural things that look like close enough to what the actual thing is. So for like our fish, right? We had this sort of shape, and we could just do something really fast, and then we had our octopus. We could just rough out like a little shape, and then have him. So, I mean, we can do these little drawings to just set something up, like we have, say, a character who is in a Western type showdown,
This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Yeah, and then you've got the but we have these little, gestural type drawings that you can do that give enough of a sense of what's going on without having to fully detail everything out. Of course you would, eventually. But, I mean, we get this idea that there's two dudes about to square off. This guy's got a cool mustache, and this guy's got a long beard, right? And he's got guns. He's going to shoot him. So, I mean,
crosses by.
Yeah, that's where we understand like the gist of it, We get what's going on enough to formulate a story. And storyboards change so much. Like you want to really nail that thumbnail pass before you start putting in a ton of cleanup work into it. Because we'll go in and start to change around colors or something like that. I always like to use a trick where I just take the opacity down a bit and then do a draw over. Say with this guy, give him some big chops. know, his collar. He's got his mustache down here. Let's give him a kind of a Dan Aykroyd nose.
All right, we've got some suggestions coming in. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, our very first suggestion was for conflict. First day of school, and a kid lost his backpack.
Ooh, okay. First day of school, kid lost his backpack.
All right, we've got a mechanic who wants to repair a robot, and a robot that does not want to be repaired. That sounds like we've got a setting, characters, and conflict already in there. That's pretty good. We've got chameleons holding swords. Have you ever seen those pictures of like a chameleon just holding something with its little claws?
No, I haven't actually.
It's pretty delightful. It looks like lizard folk like holding, like they'll give it like a little He-Man axe or something, and it looks pretty funny.
That's awesome.
One is they want to see a character who is just a bean. They're a bean. They've elaborated 2 cowboys having a duel, but one of the bullets is a living bean. So it's up to the cowboy man to save the bean or win the. Wow, this is
a little
a whole
elaborate.
mythology over here.
Yeah, that's getting into some serious storytelling. There's your bean,
a public domain Italian character in a video game who always misses their jumps. I think we can call them the amazing Giuseppe siblings.
All right, what do you think?
I kind of like the kid on the first day of school who lost his backpack.
Okay, how about this?
Let's hear it.
Kid on the first day of school loses his backpack, and he goes to look for it and finds 2 chameleons sword fighting.
That sounds like a story right there.
I think so. I think we've got something cool. What was
if
that?
One of your kids ran up to you and said, like, "Dad, I found like my backpack, and there are 2 chameleons inside, and they're having a sword fight." That is a very good story.
They're fighting over a bean.
Perfect.
Okay, here we go.
I like that too, because then you have a sense of scale. It goes from big to little. I like it.
Very cool. All right, let's do it. All right, so we're looking for first day of school. I think we're going to forego the establishing shot, and we're going to start with worried kid, like running. And how old is this kid? I'm thinking a little bit on the younger side, more like first grade or something, you know?
I think when you get to the age where like you're losing your backpack pretty frequently, that's about right. We have a suggestion for 6 years old. So yeah, that is about first grade.
That's first grade. 6 years old is first grade. Okay. Now remember, when you're boarding, that runs are always opposite, right? Never do this sort of a thing where you've got the hand up and then this leg forward, and both sides are like that. That is wrong, because we switch them over.
It's power walking.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's like a weird march, I guess, because you're doing both limbs at the same time going forward.
Yeah,
so
like a marionette or something.
Yeah, then you can just switch them like this and fix that problem. So always make sure that they are opposite. So we'll put some background here. I think we need something like
lockers, maybe.
like maybe like a jungle gym or something like that back here.
That works,
Like
yeah.
so
So
we know
it's
that.
outdoors.
Yeah, so there's like maybe like a slide or something right here, and ladders or um, I don't know. I should know how to do jungle gyms. My kids go to them a bit here and there. There's like rocket tower and stuff.
There's like some sort of
Um,
animal on a spring that like kids just get launched off of.
yeah, right. There's like a happy spring-loaded death trap thing.
By law, there has to be at least one.
Yeah. Well, let's
Now,
do a pair.
amazing. Now, in your sort of area, are the playgrounds like covered in gravel, sand, or the sort of running shoe material?
It varies. The older ones are covered in sand. The newer
Mhm.
ones are like wood chips or some sort of turf.
Yeah, it turns out falling onto sand, that hurts. Sand is not like a cushion. It is like, kind of like falling onto a big rock if you land straight onto it.
Okay, so we're gonna extend the background out a bit and put some trees, maybe like a bench, a picnic type bench, where kids can eat their lunch or something. Uh, Maybe like another one and like a swing set or something over here. We'll put these benches a little closer in the foreground. For that bench.
Now, every production is different and has different needs, but do you prefer generally working on productions that are more on model with their storyboards, or ones that are rougher and like use more shorthand throughout the boarding process?
It's my animation background talking, I think, but I tend to like ones that are a little bit more grounded in the model because I feel like the process goes a little bit easier when people are paying attention to the model more as far as like what you're setting up for down the line, right? Um,
Mhm.
but there's a double-edged sword too with that because it depends on your contract animation studio, right? Because if the animation studio is going to be like, oh, we're adhering strictly to your boards, then those boards essentially become layouts, and then they're just going to go with it verbatim. So a lot of times studios would be like, well, we want you to do it rough because then they know this is rough. We are going to embellish it and not this is a finished product. We are just going to stick to everything that you sent us. So, I mean, there's pros and cons. It just depends on who's going to be following you up, whether or not it's better to be more gestural. I think you definitely get your work finished quicker if you're doing more gestural stuff. All right, so let's get this guy on his own layer, and we just put our cowboy in there. Get rid of cowboy. We'll put him on a layer that doesn't
This
matter.
playground ain't big enough for the two of us.
Yeah. So off you go. Those are warm-up sketches from earlier. That was really funny in the Looney Tunes. Why is it not transferring over? Okay. Get rid of you. Cut. Oh, there's like duplicates of it, I guess.
Ooh.
Oops. Okay. So we've got this kid running, and we are going to draw out the timeline a little bit. We don't want it to be that long. Now, one of the things you can do to give a sense of speed is to take this all and slant it just a bit. Because when it goes by, then you don't really register that. But we're going to put a little bit of layer motion on that and to turn on this little running guy on the side. And then we have our keyframe set down here, bottom. And then we're going to we push end on the keyboard. So we add our last possible keyframe spot, add a keyframe, and then we're just going to take all of this and move it down. We want it to move at a pretty consistent pace, right? So we see him running. running through this thing. I think we can do a shot where on the background here, low angle, trees up high. We're going to be showing some stuff out here. Maybe we'll put the swing set like right here and the table that's over there, and the jungle gem thing with the tower and the slide and stuff right there. Again, this is where gestural stuff comes in real handy. We're going to make that bigger because it's a little bit closer. Actually, no, we're going to make this smaller so we get more of a sense of depth. Make this a little bit smaller so we get a sense of depth. We'll put some more trees here, and then no, we're not. What we're going to put here is the school. We're going to show the school here, and like maybe some blacktop back here where there's like, you know, a tetherball pole or one of those. But then we're going to put our eye backstop in the form of this cloud here, and then you know, we see that he is at some sort of school. There's a flag. I'm not going to do what country the flag is from because it doesn't matter. And we have Canada.
We really need to zoom in. We need to see how many stripes are on it. Is there a leaf?
Yeah, so we're going to do a stripy leaf flag. We do like this.
Ooh.
And then we're going to have maple leaf right here. Like that. That's going to be our flag.
Thank you.
Today. You're welcome. You know, I try to accommodate as much as possible. Just merge. Okay, so now let's get a foreground character in here, and we'll have him sort of running. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then duplicate this. And we're going to take him, size him up a little bit. Switch them limbs. And duplicate that. We're gonna sort of stop. Not again, not again. Oh, I'm gonna be late. Right? And then we need him to sort of like look around a bit.
Sort of look around.
The right size. Yeah, look around. See, you always want to make sure that your audience knows kind of what your character is going through at the time. Like, is he panicked? And you always want to show the like the thought process behind like what they're doing. Otherwise, nobody knows what's going on. Right? So you always have like a little bit of a precursor
before the recognition.
Yeah, you need the recognition. That's the right word I'm looking for. You need him to, or you need that character to recognize what's going on, to have that thought process go along. Right?
I guess it's the difference between things just happening and like a character having like an internal life and thought process, and okay, like this is someone reacting to things they see.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can just duplicate that. And we're just going to do a quick slick trick and flop that guy right there. So we have what?
Amazing.
And then one more thing. He's going to get a little nervous and worried. Not that he's not already worried. So since we're the subject of the day is shorthand, I think we'll just do the whole board in shorthand.
Love it.
All right, so we're not going to get overly detailed with things. And then next panel, delete him, and then he's going to run again. We'll put a little bit of perspective on that just to give it some flavor. Kind of has a little bit of like a Hilda-esque look to it today.
It does, and I dig it.
Also, ins and outs. Like when you have a character coming in and coming out, generally you want to at least leave a little bit of that character before you blank the screen out. Like from here to there, that doesn't work for animatic. You want to do something at least where you've got like a little telltale sign of them like that. And then you can clear the frame.
So not just like teleporting out, you see them leave.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Hey, Mike, how much do you feel that storyboard artists might want to know about timing and editing? Do you feel it's important to the job, or is it something that should be left for other departments?
I think you should know as much about animation in every single process that you possibly can. I think that there's room for specialties and things like that, but I think there's also the argument that if you know at least a little bit about every part of the process, you're going to be a much more effective artist and a much more versatile artist and a much more highly employable artist. So, because you can do so many things. Like for me, I go between being an episodic director, a board artist, and an animation director. So, you know, those are the three things that I've been able to do in my career. And, you know, well, storyboard revisionist, but that is all under storyboards. So, all right. So what do you think about him like coming through some bushes and seeing this amazing chameleon fight?
I love it. So is it bushes and then backpack and then chameleon fight, or are we just going bushes, separate the bushes out, chameleons are fighting?
What do you say we see like the bottom of the backpack or backpack strap or something like that, and then he goes to the bush and sees it, grabs his backpack and sees amazing chameleon fight.
So
what do you guys think about that?
Inside the backpack? Yeah. We want suggestions for how this should play out.
So we got him looking around. Oh, I'm gonna be like, where's that thing? Ah! And he runs. Let's give him a little bit of hair too. Might as well.
You're making a lot of progress today.
We are making a ton of progress today, and it's all because you brought up
great.
Shorthand. Way to go, Mr. Schneer.
I also wanted to ask you too, like, how important do you feel it is to be aware of other elements in a production pipeline, not just for like your own career growth, but to avoid those situations, like when you encounter a writer who writes like all hell breaks loose in the script, being aware of what challenges and limitations that like animators might run into, you know?
That's really important, especially in design, because you can have designs that aren't very animatable. You know, that your animators are going to look at and be like, I don't know how to work with this, you know? So again,
mileage, this is just, yeah.
I would reiterate that you should know as much about the full animation process as you can. I think that it's important and really good for any artist to make their own film at one point, at least once, so you have a good understanding of the process from start to finish. Like, am I going to board this and then not be able to animate it because it's too complex? Can I do this in a reasonable amount of time without killing myself over it? Unless you have time to spare and you can, like that one guy who made a feature all on his own over the course of like 4 or 5 years, and his hands were all like taped up and stuff because he had blisters everywhere. His hands are going to be made of iron, I think, at some point, just because of
calloused
that.
over.
Yeah. So, do we have any suggestions of how this should go down, or are we just plowing ahead?
All right. So I put it to a vote. It looks like what they want is to have the fight inside the backpack.
Fight inside the backpack? That's awesome.
Yeah. So the kid finds the backpack, opens it up. There's a gladiator fight going on inside their backpack.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I love it. Freaking love it. This is a good one. Okay, I'm gonna put one more thing before this. I'm gonna put him in kind of like a more tree wooded area with bushes and stuff. I know that's probably not the best thing to have at like a school is like a wooded area where some kid could lose his lunch money or whatever, but lose his lunch money, I say. But I think for the story, it works okay. So we're out of like the school proper and into more of like part of the park or something. I guess we kind of already did that composition. Yeah, we already did that composition. Let's do something else. So we're not going to show the school at all. We're just going to have some bushes and we'll do a tree right here and maybe like a tree here that's a little closer and maybe one that's like right here with some bushes and foliage and maybe like a fence where you see like outside the school or something like that. And we saw him go out, so we must see him come in. We're going to see him come in a close-up. I think it'd be better if we saw him looking away from camera. Give him a little bit more forward momentum. And then duplicate that, but we're going to go back to the first one. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. Put him on the edge of frame. So when we look at it in frame on the camera view, what we're going to see is him coming in like this.
Amazing.
So he leaves and then comes in like that. That takes a little bit of the, I don't know, my old director, Mark Kirkland, always said that'll take the curse off it, which I always kind of liked that phrase.
The curse.
Yeah, so like, taking the curse off it means like it's getting better, like you're improving something. Yeah,
I do like that you had the character leave on one side of the frame and then come back into another side of the frame in a different shot, so it sort of feels like there's a sense of progress.
Well, that's screen direction, right?
Yeah,
that's classic screen direction 101. There have been even you go back and watch old Spielberg movies and stuff, and
characters making progress go from left to right if in places where that's the direction that you read.
Sure, but the thing is even if it doesn't geographically make sense, screen direction wise it makes sense. Like somebody walking one way and then like the camera flips around a little bit, but they're still walking from left to right, even though that makes no sense geographically, it makes sense on the screen.
No, that's a good point.
Kind of looks like a human version of a Smurf.
I mean, you could make them blue. There's no reason why you can't.
Okay. We won't give him any color. We'll just say, hey, there's a kid. He lost his backpack. Because he's careless. Careless kid. We'll call him Cary.
Cary the careless kid. No longer carrying a backpack.
Cary the careless.
Are we bullying? Is this bullying?
I don't know. Is it? Tell
I think
us
it
in the
might be.
comments.
Yeah.
Somebody took his
Should we feel bad
backpack.
about ourselves?
I don't think we feel bad about ourselves. Should we feel bad about ourselves?
I feel a little bit bad about myself now.
You shouldn't. You're a good guy. You've never bullied anybody.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
This is another little trick you can do. Again, we've done this a lot on the show. Is just manipulate a few vectors here and there, add a couple more lines, and you see that there is head turn. Even though it's not perfect, we are just doing the more gestural shorthand today. We can even just spread his arms out a little bit and give it a bit more flavor.
I just love how much mileage we can get out of this drawing.
Yeah. And then recognition. Big widespread fingers. Show he's excited. Yeah. Then let's double that and have him come toward camera. He sees something and he's going after it.
So there's a suggestion in the chat that we formally name this character Careless Cary.
Okay, done.
Perfect.
Careless Cary. I think we may need to put a title card on here now.
I think we do.
This is going to be its own scene.
Beautiful.
The Ballad of Careless Cary. Let's move this compositionally better over here. You know what we're going to do? We're going to use the perspective tool to make it look way cooler. The perspective
That is way
tool,
cooler.
The perspective tool is so great. If you haven't messed with it, you should, because it will help you get some results that maybe you wouldn't have thought about? Or if you're drawing things, if you feel like you're drawing things a bit flat, that'll help you draw them not flat. Where my backpack? Nah, we shouldn't malign his intelligence.
Yeah, he's not dumb, he's just careless.
Seen my backpack?
Yeah. I feel like there's a whole pitch deck in this.
Careless Cary goes to school. He's running through. Oh, where is it? Where's my backpack? Ah, finally. Then we cut to bushes, roots of bushes, and then we see a lone backpack strap in said bushes. There's another bush right here that he's gonna. Let's draw a couple little leaves. Oops, it's the wrong tool for that. You know, so we can tell that there's foliage here.
Yeah.
Maybe some other
density.
You know, we need some grass or something on the ground, some little bits of things that we can do and see. Another thing you might want to do just for funsies is to just give it a little bit of tone to differentiate it from the rest of the area here. So we're gonna just give it a little bit of tone with our draw behind on. Oh, that was not draw behind, that was the fill in. But no matter, we'll just select by color, cut, paste, boom, problem solved.
Nice.
Give it a little bit of little polish there. All right, boom, boom, boom. So we see, and I think what we're going to need for this is to give it a little bit of Careless Cary coming in. Reaching out for his backpack.
So we're getting a few questions in the chat.
What's
one
up,
is,
people?
would a project like this be good to put in a portfolio?
If you clean it up and do like an animatic, sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know, whatever you do as something from yourself, from your own creativity, is going to be good for somebody to look at. You know, whether or not the board is good or arbitrarily, that is a matter of talking to your friends and saying, hey, what do you think of this? Is this any good? To which they respond, yeah, it's great, or maybe you should work on this and this and that. But yeah, doing original stuff.
Type of friends you have.
That's great. You should. You absolutely be creative. We have way too much derivative stuff in entertainment today. Sequels and prequels and all this stuff. Aren't you guys sick of it? Don't you want something that's like, some new creativity? I know I do.
Especially if you have like a really quick story with a beginning, middle, and end that someone who's hiring people can quickly flip through and see all the stuff and make a decision. I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's always a controversy with fan art, right? Have you had that controversy with fan art?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's changed a bit. I think people are more comfortable with seeing fan art, but it depends.
See, I have a problem sometimes with fan art because I feel like fan art takes away from it takes the time that people would have spent creating their own stuff, right? Everybody loves Batman. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Everybody loves, Superman and other cartoon characters from other shows. But at the end of the day, what are you really doing?
Although
You're
the interesting
spending your
thing with
creativity
characters
on someone else's
like
creation.
Batman and Spider-Man and all of them is that in a way, all of it now is fan art, right? Like the original comics were in like the 1940s and 1920s, and well, in the case of Spider-Man, I think 1950s. Um, and in a lot of cases, the stuff that's produced afterwards kind of is official fan art in a way of thinking about it.
It's true. No, you're absolutely right that it's you know. But again, it's you're denying your own creativity in favor of doing something that, I mean, if you like it, great, do it. If you really feel like you want to, but just remember, there's only so much time that we all have on this spinning globe, and you can either spend it, doing something for somebody else, or you can do something for yourself when you don't have obligations to, go out and be making a lot of money for, say, your family or something like that. Spend that time
Maybe
working
maybe
on
the
something.
advice is like make something that someone else will want to draw fan art of.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Give it that nice ego stroke on that little statement there. I love it. Okay. So we're here. He's coming in. We've got him reaching down. Oh, there it is. And I think he should sort of get down a little bit lower. We'll have the backpack strap like right here, right? I think it would be cool to see like an open zipper.
Yeah, something's happened.
Yeah. And then we have, if you hold down Shift in Storyboard Pro, you can just draw it a straight line. It's often very helpful. Right here. We'll have the other bush right here, and maybe like, some tree root or something, a bunch of grass, some taller grass that's harder to trim or something like that. Right. So we can see we have, a space here. If you hold down Alt and Shift at the same time, you can make that absolutely straight, which is something that a lot of people like. Also, in backgrounds, you can use colors to make things a little bit more important in frame. And by that, I mean I can just make this one slightly darker and this stuff slightly lighter. And then that gives it depth, right?
Almost atmospheric perspective, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of atmospheric perspective. And then let's have Careless Cary. He's still really jazzed about finding his lost backpack. Let's make him a little bit bigger. So he looks like that would be his backpack. And not the backpack is wearing him.
This is so great. He's going to get what he wants, and then complication.
Okay, now I have an important question for the group. What kind of swords? Are we looking at a classic swashbuckler, or are we looking at long swords? Are we looking at long sword versus, dueling sword? I don't know.
I like the contrast. I like the contrast of like a really big sort of like two-handed sword and like a rapier.
So we going Roy Robb on this guy? Rob
I
Roy?
think so.
Rob Roy. Okay. Every so often, because action is such a part of film, and I just love action movies to begin with, and I love sword fight movies. I'll just go on YouTube and look up like best cinematic sword fights or something like that. Something.
What's your favorite cinematic sword fight of all time, Mike?
You know what? There's a lot. There's a lot of good swordplay that I find is very exciting in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Hmm.
There's an anime called Sword of the Stranger that has incredible fight choreography.
Nice.
Um, there's a lot of good swordplay. Like I said, the aforementioned Rob Roy has some good swordplay. Uh, if you want to get into like sci-fi, there's some pretty good stuff in some of the prequel Star Wars movies. I find that the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul has some really good swordplay in it. Exciting swordplay at any rate. Maybe that's all because Duel of the Fates is playing. I don't know, but it comes down. Um, I think what we're really trying to get at here is him having to reach for the. So let's get him up a little bit. Leave this arm down.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's like somebody getting down to get what he's looking for, right? So let's get rid of that. Get rid of this. Tilt that head back
Ooh,
down.
ooh, ooh.
Huh?
We just got a really, really good suggestion.
Oh yeah.
Swords made of stuff found in the bag, like a compass or a pen. You know, that sort of like math tool
Like
thing
a
with the
like a
the jabby
paperclip.
end. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or maybe sort of dual wielding, like one hand thumbtack and one hand pen.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it.
Maybe
Kudos to
one
you,
holding like
Vincent.
a Yeah,
Our
so
audience
this
is like
was
killing it today.
A code 97. That was a solid suggestion. I like that.
Yeah, our audience is on fire today. You guys are great. Okay, so we're gonna come down here and we're gonna copy that. How much time we got left? We got 10 minutes,
Oh,
right?
we have 10 minutes left. I think we could
Okay.
do this.
I think we can do this too. I think we can at least
And the next
get
episode is
to.
how do we resolve the fight?
Yeah, I think we can get to at least the start of the fight, right?
I think so. I think so.
You know, we're gonna give a little bit of depth on on his head there.
All right, chat. We need specifics about what sort of things would be used as swords by chameleons inside a backpack. I like pen. I like thumbtack. I like sort of the math compass thing, but I think we need more. Maybe a ruler.
Rulers might be too big.
Yeah,
Protractor.
yeah. Protractor could work. Yeah,
I think protractors are
sort
like
of be a
illegal in some
cutlass.
schools now because kids are shanking each other with them or something.
I think the protractor is that the sort of dome-shaped ruler. I think the compass is the one with the little stabby bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that might be it.
Yeah.
The stabby bit would be there. I mean, I don't know. Part of that's. I mean, it's never right, but I mean, when I was a kid, people like junior high, people used to do a. You ever get a ruler burn?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so people
Oh,
would have the wooden rulers with a metal straight edge on it, and they would take it and rub it against the sole of their shoe and get it hot, and like put it on your leg or something. You'd be like, ah, and look, and they would laugh, and you'd be like, jerk. And then next thing you know, you've got a ruler on your shoe and you're plotting your
so
revenge.
I'm gonna just throw in the disclaimer: do not repeat things that you see happen in episodes of Collaboratory. That is just a good disclaimer. Viewer discretion is advised. How about a
It's
spork?
hot
Like
topics.
a big old spork that a chameleon's sort of wielding in
Oh,
a menacing manner. Because I feel like spork is sort of interesting because it's blunt. It's not really dangerous, but it has sort of the like hint of peril.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to put all this under comedic license.
Yeah.
And because it has to look at least a little bit dangerous, but not so dangerous where,
All
you
right. All
know,
right. We're not going to worry about standards and practices.
you don't have to because we're on the internet. Okay. Also, here we have a change of shape. You always, I mean, it's
Hmm.
a good idea to put in a change of shape so we can see progress. Like here, his back is arched in more of a convex, and here his back is arched in more of a concave, right? So you see that shape change coming down. He's gonna go right there, and then he's gonna hear something. So we're gonna duplicate that frame again. Duplicate. So he hears a ting, ting, ting.
Again, like reactions are really important. This is fantastic.
You know, another thing that you can add every so often. Sometimes these get cut for time, but a little bit of a is somebody goofing on me or something like that? You know, somebody clowning me. Then I think he would then sort of scoot in a bit closer, and then we'll get this hand. We'll put it up here so he can focus in a bit more. We'll take this head that we've already drawn. Give him a little change of expression. Pop that head down into there. And take the body, turn a different color. So then we can kind of use it as reference. And when you're doing scenes with crawling, walking, anything like that, generally try to obey the rules of how that works in motion, and it just makes your board that much more believable. So he's got one arm planted when he comes down, and then reaches while that other arm stays planted, right?
Right. You shouldn't be able to move with both of them.
And then the second one, I mean, he's not a ninja.
Yeah. Not yet.
So then that one can come forward, and we can have this leg back like this. We'll turn off the draw behind. And then we can have his one other leg sort of crawl forward. Then, of course, our favorite trick here on Collaboratory is just deleting the lines that we don't need anymore. Okay, next shot. I think what we're looking at here is an interior of the backpack. So we're going to have an overlay, right? And it's going to have little zipper teeth on it. And when you're doing stuff like this, try and make it as interesting of a shape as you can. Okay. And then one thing that we can do is now we are going to use the draw behind and the fill in, and we're going to pick like a gray color and just make a shape like this to do the draw behind and opaquing really quickly, because we're going to put elements behind this. Just sort of trace as best you can over what you've already drawn, and then finish out the shape. It turns like that.
That is a very handy trick.
Oh, that's such a great tool. I mean, and that's only in
Toon.
Yeah, it's only in Storyboard Pro 20. You know, which sometimes I for work I still work in 7, and it like I like go for that tool and like, oh yeah, it's not there. Dang it. Okay, so let's give Cary. Put Cary's eyes right here, and we're gonna make our brush just a little bit bigger. And we put Cary on a separate layer because we want to be able to manipulate that. And I'm going to turn on the light table. Okay.
Mike, we're running out of time. Do you want to run through what we have so far?
Almost. Just give me just a
Okay, perfect.
A sec more. We are going to push end and set another keyframe. We're going to go back to our original one, and we're going to do this. So when he comes in, it's like that. And then we duplicated that frame, but we're going to have to delete the keyframe that we first put on there, so he stays put, right? And then we are going to duplicate that one frame again, and then on a layer in front, we are going to have this clash right in front.
Amazing.
And then we're going to shock that. Oh, that's that. We don't even see those fingers, but and then maybe some sparks coming off of that. Okay, there we go. Thank you for a little bit of time. We're not.
Hey, always happen to indulge.
Okay, let's go to our camera view. All right, we're starting back at the beginning. The Ballad of Careless Cary. Seen my backpack? All right, we got a kid. Huh, he's running. He's oh, my backpack. I'm gonna be late. Where's my backpack? Where did it go? Where is it? did I leave it somewhere? Did somebody take it? And then he runs. And he runs and he's looking and he's searching and he looks. Oh, yeah, there it is. And he goes down, gets down low, and then what? He hears a ching, 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 like the sound of clashing weaponry, which is weird. Looks around, gets closer, comes down and looks in the backpack. And there's in the foreground we have the clash of a ruler and a paperclip. Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us again for Collaboratory. Is there anything that you would like to draw our attention to this week?
I think I'm going to be at Lightbox in October, so stay tuned for that. I'm hoping we can do another animation dance party. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. All right, so thank you to everyone who joined us for Collaboratory. If you'd like to try your hand at storyboarding, you can download a 21-day trial of Storyboard Pro from our website at toonboom.com. Our next stream will take place on Thursday, September 1st, so be sure to tune in next time.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. This was a great one. I really like this board a lot.
It turned out really well.
Yeah, it did. Thanks, guys.